If you look back at Western music history, the technology has always preceded musical styles. And I don't know that this is obvious or clear to people, but if you think about it, when new instruments came out, the Baroque period, which was one of the most fertile and imaginative periods of music, occurred, and we had harpsichords and big church organs. And you could play a lot of notes, but they all had the same volume. And people started writing music to take advantage of that. Bach being the greatest representative, fugues, where you had independent voices that moved against each other at the same loudness. Pianos came along with equal temperament, allowed people to modulate, change keys easily. Once all the instruments were stable enough to be in tune, the orchestra, as we know it, came together. Late 1800s, a couple of new instruments entered, banjo, saxophone, and were involved with the beginning of jazz. Electric guitar actually was invented in 1931, I believe, but it didn't really affect music until the 60s, and it became its own instrument with people such as Jimi Hendrix and Duane Allman making it sing in a new way. And in the 70s, we started receiving computers, networks, synthesizers, and I think it's taken some time, but we're on the beginning of a new musical era, and we hope to help bring that to fruition. So what's our biggest technology? Networking. It's changed the world more than anything else. And if we want to explore music with networked instruments, we need controllers, instruments, mixers, things that are responsive and fun to play. I categorize instruments into these broad examples, ones that make sound on their own, acoustic. This is what we've had for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. Ones that don't make any sound, these are called controllers. And ones that do both, I call these enhanced traditional instruments. And this would be guitars, violins, standard instruments that you can connect to computers and technology. KRONOS Quartet, a very forward-thinking group, premiered a piece a few years ago in New York that involved 4 networked bows, and the composer and I are in the middle there. And they're very excited to continue with this exploration because composers have run out of sounds. They've done everything they can with regular instruments, and it's nice to have fresh controls and new ways to compose. Sensors. When you look at a musical instrument, almost all of them involve some form of sensor. It can be a string, a vibrating reed, something that vibrates when you hit it, and then these are amplified, given some tone from the body of the instrument or the shape of the mouth and the lips. And at KMI, we've spent the last 7 years exploring new sensor technology. We've created smart fabric, fabric that changes its character as you press it or bend it, stretch it. And this has many applications, and we'll show you a few of them tonight. And being a guitar player, I've worked to develop new technology for strings. And this involves new pickups and different devices, which we'll show you. Nonetheless, I think having the right sensor is the beginning of a good instrument. And I think unless you can pick up the subtlety of an artist, you can't really do much with it afterwards. And that's been our focus, new ways to understand what musicians are doing, how they're expressing themselves, and how to help them turn that into audio, into sound, and work with other musicians in the networked manner or independently. one of the basic things you need to do, and I figured this out a long time ago, if I was going to play music live on stage, I needed to control the mix. I think we have a mixer in the corner tonight who will maintain everyone's levels and cues, but I kind of wanted to do it all myself. And I designed, along with the people I worked with at Zeta, the very first programmable audio mixer. It was licensed to Akai, and they sold many thousands of them. And tonight we're going to show you the next programmable mixer. It's called K-Mix. It's tiny. It's under a kilogram. And you'll see a short video that'll explain it all to you. And I'll show you one of its features that is very hard to have come across over the internet, and that's surround sound, which is an integral part of movies and a lot of music today. So the K-Mix mixes audio. It stands alone, works by itself. It's an audio interface, so it can take multiple channels of audio and convert them into USB information. We have some mic preamps that are remarkably good that we worked on for over a year. And it can be a control surface where you can adjust sounds or devices outside of the mixer. And it's bus powered. And if you're a musician, that means it's good. It means you don't have to carry an extra power supply along. It means you can run it off your iPad. And getting the power down so we could have all of these features and functions and still keep it powered off the USB bus was a wonderful challenge. Here's a little movie that shows you some of the features. I'd like to show you now. Thank you. Yeah, it's really quite something. I traveled playing music 2006, 2007, and the only one making money was the airlines. And things were heavy and bulky, and I just stopped and said, I'm not going to go out and play music until I can carry everything on with me. And that's been sort of the guiding principle behind all of the products that we've developed at KMI. Most of us working there are musicians and understand the need to be able to show up at the last minute and put everything together in a very short time, pulling it out of your backpack, and having great control, great power, because the computers we have nowadays are remarkable. We just need to be able to speak to them properly through our gestures and intentions. So I'm going to do a little surround mix. It's kind of a pseudo movie soundtrack, something like a person writing music for film or TV would do. 5.1 audio is very common. Our mixer will go up to 8.1, and I'll just move some sounds around so you can hear it. before the K-Mix, you would need literally tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment to do what I just did. And the K-Mix has a list price of $599. I think a lot of musicians are going to be able to express themselves more thoroughly and more wonderfully with the K-Mix sort of as the nexus of all their audio sources. Next thing I want to show you is STRINGPORT 2. STRINGPORT 1 was close, but was lacking. And if you play a traditional instrument, an instrument that makes sound, and you want to enhance it, you have a couple of ways to do it, and the one that is usually done is listening to the audio and trying to figure out what the pitch is. And music happens over time. The pitch of a note is based upon how many vibrations per second. So the lower the note, the longer the time it takes to understand what the note is. If you're a musician, you get kicked out of the band if you're late. And a lot of the products out for guitar just really aren't snappy enough to be fun to play, and guitarists aren't willing to give up all the nuance and responsiveness they've worked so hard for just to trade in for some new sounds. And I've always felt that this really had to be the case so that you could use these new sounds and techniques. I've built probably half a dozen versions of converters that would take audio and turn it into controls for music. MIDI is everywhere. Computers talk it, your cell phone has it. A lot of toys use it. It's the language that these devices communicate. But being able to communicate rapidly and accurately is very important, as well as being able to talk to everything. So I added what's called fret scanning. It's a little circuit board, and it fits underneath the fingerboard of the guitar and it attaches to each fret. It is easily used in the normal manufacturing process. You just make a little slot for it, glue it in place, and you slot the top to put the frets in, you pound the frets in, and then it's good to go. So to show us how this performs, I'd like to bring up Owen Kelly. He'll start off showing you just the fret scanning capability of a guitar like this. Thanks, Owen. All of those sounds were made by a synthesizer running inside the computer. I think it's the first time we've been able to have control of synthetic sounds with no compromise. Another product that we're premiering tonight is the BOPPAD. I took the smart fabric that I started using on the Cabo a long time ago and expanded it for a drum pad. It's very accurate hit detector. It knows where the drumstick strikes, and you can play it with hands or sticks. You can have multiple sounds on it. It's capable of transmitting how far you are from the center, the pressure of how you're pushing the stick or your fingers. It's very small. Again, it'll fit into your backpack, and if you want to use a kick drum, a snare, a cymbal, and a tom, you could have it all right here. And the price will be around $100. This is the design of the fabric. We print inks onto the fabric, conductive inks, and we've been working with DuPont for almost 2 years to develop these inks. And we've been working over 7 years to develop this fabric. There's many applications outside of music, which are fascinating, but it exists because of music, and I'd like you to be able to hear it tonight. We have Robert Lopez here to show you what it can do. Robert first came in and played it yesterday. He's a fantastic percussionist. Thank you. If you ask any guitar player, electric guitar player, who has been playing guitar since the 60s, what they want more than anything else, after you get through the usual sex, drugs, etc., they'll say sustain. I want my guitar to sing. I pluck a note and it just dies away. And the only way they've been able to get their notes to sustain is to stand in front of a big stack of speakers, have the speakers vibrate the guitar, and that would keep the string, usually just one string, vibrating. And for 30 years I've been trying to solve this problem, and a couple years ago it occurred to me that, well, heck, everything's happening at the end of the string. All the information is there, and if you can pick up the information accurately and then drive the string at its end, it would be possible to do. I found out it's possible, but just not very easy. Inside the saddle piece, and there's 6 of them on the guitar, 1 for each string, and they're down at the low end, we were able to fit in a pickup, a phantom-powered preamp, and probably the world's most powerful electromagnets to push that string back and forth. And it is really fun because you can get ear-shattering sustain at levels that won't disturb anybody. You can have it in your headphones. You can have the sound of your guitar tuned completely differently than what the strings are doing, yet you'll still have sustain. And here's a little animation. Like if you watch a person jumping rope and they're good at it, once they get going, there's very little motion that they need in order to keep that rope going around and around. And that also is true for a string of a guitar. So I'd like to invite Darren Gibbs up. Thanks, Darren. Can we have the house lights up? I work with the best, smartest, most intelligent, nicest group of people in the world. These things are labors of love, not just from me, but from everybody who works on these products. And I'd like them to stand up and enjoy a little moment of recognition for all their hard work. Please. You should leave now and go back to work. Nothing more challenging than playing the grand piano. And the piano has been sacred in a lot of ways, yet the keyboard has survived numerous incarnations, organs, harpsichords. They finally figured out, metallurgists were able to create technology that would keep all the strings from snapping the soundboard, the harp. So again, technology was used, the Erard escapement that allowed you to rapidly play notes in succession, made an instrument that was truly playable, and that was maybe 150 years ago. And the keyboard has been the dominant instrument to control synthesizers, mostly because it's easy to understand when you push a button. And usually after you've pushed that button, the most creative act allowed you is when to let go of it. So we felt if we took our smart fabrics and our smart brains and put them to work, we could create a lightweight product like this. This is the Keyboard Pro. It's a 4-octave. We can make, we plan to make a 6-octave that'll fold in half, and even an 8-octave if such a thing has demand. I'll show you a little bit about it so you'll understand it when Jake plays it. Each of the keys is sensitive to pressure, which we call the z-axis, left and right, which is X, and the vertical axis, all you math guys out there? Why not? So, a little movie here so you can get the basics in your mind, and then we'll have a nice performance for you. Thank you. One of the things we've been able to do with this advanced smart fabric technology, SmartBrick, is make instruments that are reliable and affordable. If you go to our website, you'll see people driving cars and vans over our instruments willingly, and strapping them to watermelons and throwing them out second floor windows. And if you're a musician and you're on stage, it's like being on the moon. You really are on your own, and you're completely reliant upon your instruments, your technology to work right. So the keyboard is tough, it's affordable, and very expressive. I'd like to invite Jake Smolo up to demonstrate. Thank you, Jake. This is the fourth time Jake's been able to play the keyboard, and he's really helped us understand what keyboardists enjoy and what they need in order to be expressive. So that really is our expose. These are 5 new products. They've never left our facility on 4th Street before. So this is their coming out party, and we welcome you to come up, meet with the musicians, try them out. There'll be more drinks, more food, and any questions, I guess? Good. We've all worked diligently and compassionately to make these things happen, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing them tonight. Thank you for coming.